frankly, life has ups and downs. Life is so beautiful and also can be really challenging. And I think that connection that we can cultivate with others is the thing that's really going to pull us through. Hi, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome to Rediscover.
In each episode, we're reflecting on our past and finding inspiration in the present
to set beautiful intentions for the future.
So join us for today's conversation.
And let's rediscover together. Hi, everyone. I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome to this month's episode of Rediscover.
We are back.
We're back, and we're happy to be here. And we have a new structure of Rediscover to introduce you to moving forward. And it's very exciting.
We sort of had a little season away, and we came back together and started kind of discussing where we felt like Rediscover was going. And we sort of realized we were feeling some of the same things, ready for some of the same changes. And we wanted to sort of refocus and refine
and realign,
yes, our episode structure so that it feels really, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, intentional, but it also feels really actionable. There are takeaways that feel tangible and topical and relevant.
Yeah. So basically our episodes from here on out, for the foreseeable future, we're going to title Rediscovering fill in the blank. So they're going to be different aspects of life and what feels alive for us at that current point in time. There's everything from joy to curiosity, deep reflections, love, creativity, inner child. So we have a lot of fun things on the docket here. And we're going to take one at a time, one per month, so we can really dive in deep and find things that resonate with both us and with you.
Yeah, we want to refine to give you more structure, but also, like Jess said, we want to realign to give you more substance. We want to keep it succinct and digestible enough that you feel like there's sort of a storyline structure to this. There's a beginning, a middle, an end, and a takeaway, a very clear and concise takeaway. You know, something to inspire you, maybe something to educate you or, you know, cause you to take a deeper dive on your own. And that's really what this should be. I think a springing off board that takes this from being a podcast into something that's actually implemented into your life and gives you a place to come back to find more ways to become more grounded in yourself, to find more resonance and to show up differently in the world and to help you grow, because that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. It'll be like peeling back layers of an onion of yourself, and I think that's really cool. But
love it.
To start with today, we're going to go into our first topic, and I think it's really applicable because this is something that we are doing with you, and our title of this episode is going to be Rediscovering Connection, and we're here connecting with you, and we want to deep dive into this topic because I think there's a lot to unpack, and it's definitely a word for me that's very, very alive right now in what I'm thinking about, what I'm feeling, and how I'm interacting with the people in my life.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we both kind of took some time to think about what we wanted this first episode back in this new season to be about, and like you said, connecting and reconnecting with all of you is a great way to begin, but also I think it's been coming up for both of us recently for different reasons. So yeah, I think without further ado,
let's get into it.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
It's very exciting. So, connection. I actually was thinking we should look up the definition of our word.
Webster's Dictionary defines connections as...
Yes, let me look it up.
I mean, on a visceral level, on a spiritual level.
Yes.
The beautiful thing about a word is it it has so many different contexts. This is why I'm a words person and not a math person. Because
Exactly.
words are malleable.
Okay, just give me
The
one
act of
moment.
connecting, awesome.
Thanks for the depth. Okay.
You know, when people make a speech, though, and they're like, the dictionary defines love as...
Yes.
Like, oh, no.
Okay, so to dive into our first topic, let's look up the definition of connection, and that's where we will start.
Just so we're not being too arbitrary. Okay. A relationship in which a person, thing, or idea is linked or associated with something else. Simple as that.
I love that.
The action of linking one thing to another.
That's beautiful. And over here as well, I have connection refers to the emotional and physiological bond between individuals that foster a sense of mutual understanding, trust, and presence. It's the experience of being seen, heard, and valued by another person and offering the same in return. I really like that a lot, actually.
That's really good.
I feel like that's a big part of the topic that I want to dive into.
We should keep that nearby as we go so we can sort of find our way back to that. That's like that's our home base right here.
Okay. That's so funny. There's more to the definition. It says connection is often marked by authenticity,
Rediscover buzzword,
empathy, and shared willingness to engage deeply, whether it be in moments of vulnerability or joy.
which we were just discussing.
Did I not just say that?
You
Okay.
did.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to go into some past experiences first and kind of reflect on where Kristen and I have encountered connection in our lives and things that where Kristen and I have experienced connection in our lives and things that we've learned from them.
Yeah.
Then we'll transition into present encounters where it's coming up in modern day. And then at the end, we'll go into future expansion and how we can take what we've learned and expand on that as time goes on. So,
yeah. And then we'll finish things off with something for you to take away, a little homework assignment, if you will. We'll actually be giving a journal prompt for each episode and each sort of rediscovery so that you can take this and run with it as it applies to your own life and your own past experiences, what's coming up for you when you hear us talk about these things in our present lives, and then how you can kind of apply that going forward. So we'll leave you with that. And then at the end of each episode, we'll do a little something we're liking to call a rediscover roundup, where we just give little life updates and we still sort of nugget those things in there for you, those of you who are interested in the personal lives
exactly.
of J and K.
Exactly. I actually really love that concept too because, you know, when we get to the new year, we always have a word of the year, but sometimes that's really daunting. So this kind of gives you a word for the month, which I think is really cool. So you can kind of simmer on this as the next few weeks go by till the next episode. So without further ado, let's dive into the past and talk about a few experiences in the past where this has come up for us. So if it's okay, I'll start over here because I think that relating to our definition, that is very similar to what I wanted to talk about. So I think in past situations, connection is something that I frankly think I've misunderstood sometimes. And I don't think that's all the time because I really pride myself on having really deep connections with my friends and with family members and people who I'm close to in my life. But I think I've actually confused connection oftentimes. I think I've confused it with, you know, just physically being around another person, or maybe sometimes even with like material items like, oh, you're sick, let me give you this, and this. But then, you know, not really like showing up and really being there and sitting in it. So I didn't realize for me that this was something that I was kind of missing in my life a little bit. And I think that it seemed really normal to like have people physically be around, but like the connection piece is deeper than that. Like to me, connection is really sitting with someone in whatever season they're in and really like fully being there and being fully present and attuning to them. I just told Kristen this example, but it's like when you're, you know, if you're in a hospital and you have people coming in and giving you food or giving you like medicine or giving you whatever, but they just come in and out. do you remember that person more, or do you remember the nurse who sat by your bed and held your hand when you were feeling really scared and when you were crying or when you were, going through an emotion? And I think that's what connection really is being with people like through those different times, and getting a little bit more real with them, because frankly life has ups and downs. Life is so beautiful and also can be really challenging, and I think that connection that we can cultivate with others is the thing that's really gonna pull us through. So
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think we all crave it. We all just don't necessarily know how to put a name to it, but we all crave feeling seen and known, or we sometimes feel fear that if we are seen and known for who we truly are, that we will be rejected, which kind of segues into where I went with this. My past experience, when I reflect on my life and the people I feel I have strong connections with and the people I don't, and also the kind of in between where I have found that there are missed opportunities. Certainly I feel a strong connection with a lot of people in my life, and it is because we have had those moments of, like the definition said, vulnerability and joy. We've celebrated together, we've grieved together. I've attended the funerals of parents of people close to me, friends close to me, and also their weddings. And so we've had that sort of spectrum of like grief and joy and everything that life throws at you in between. But I also have found in reflecting on my life some opportunities that were missed, to get closer to someone that maybe I did initially connect with. And I'm speaking about really like platonic friendships, or even someone in your family that's like an extended family member, a cousin or something that you see occasionally, and when you do, you're like, oh my gosh, especially as an adult, like maybe we had an age gap as kids, but we reconnected a family wedding, and we're like, why, we live 10 minutes from each other, why don't we see each other more? Life gets in the way, people are busy, but there's always an opportunity if you're being intentional. And I think I've missed some of those, and sometimes it has been because of a fear of rejection. Like, oh, if we met and we said, let's get a coffee sometime, let's grab lunch, and then neither of us follows up. And I can remember times where I thought about following up, but I was nervous that maybe they didn't really mean it. Maybe they were just saying that to be nice. Maybe, was I too much? Did I come on too strong to that person? Did they just say that because we have this mutual friend, or whatever excuse I sort of constructed in my head to not follow up with that person. And then I missed the opportunity to get close to them. I missed the opportunity to make a great friend or have a great relationship with a neighbor or somebody I don't see very often but wished that I could. So I kind of have had to reconcile with that, and the best way to reconcile with something you don't like about your past is to set a different intention for your future. I was talking to Anthony about this earlier, and he was like, I don't care about being the person, he said, like, send the double text, right? Like, if I meet someone and I want to be close to them, I will reach out to them. I will send the double text. I will remind them. I'll follow up. I don't mind that, because the worst that can happen is just that you don't see them again, that they don't follow up with you, that you only ever see them in passing and you say, hey, how are you? Good, how are you? And then you move on with your life. But he's like, at least I will know that I put in the effort and I tried. And if the relationship doesn't turn into anything, it doesn't, but it's not for my own lack of trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you have to wear your heart on your sleeve a little bit. And I think that it's easy to like want to take that personally and be like, oh, they didn't want to connect with you. But I don't really think it's ever that. I think all you can really do is try and extend that warm welcome and see if it, if it sticks. Because if the connection is there and it's a deep, real, true connection, that's what it's all about. Like that's what the whole point of life is, to experience these beautiful moments and connection with other human beings, connections with the world around you. And I think that there's something to be said for that, for sure.
Yeah, because connections are how you build your community, and your community is your rock, because life will continue to throw all of those things at you. You will have more joyful moments and more moments where you have to grieve and everything in between. And having a community of people you're connected to lean on makes everything in life more bearable, more fun, more memorable. And I think that's why we're here.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Personally. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all going through this crazy ride together. So I think present moment, something I've been noticing about connection. There's a lot of different ways I feel like I could go with this, but actually tying it to our wedding a little bit, there's been a lot of lessons that have been coming up in the present moment because of that. Because when you are planning an event like a wedding, you're diving into your relationships. It's from people of all stages of your life. It's everyone from family member to friends to coworkers to anyone you've really connected with. And I think something that is really hitting me is, I keep saying this thing, this wedding that we're having is one of the last times I'm going to have all of these groups of people get together. Whether it was a group of people I worked with at a specific place in Disney, or it was my cousins from my mom's side, or whatever it is. There's little subgroups of people, but then there's also the individuals within these groups. And I think reflecting on that and realizing oh, I've done a really great job at staying close to this person, but then this one kind of faltered a little bit, and I could have really put in more of an effort, and now so many years have gone by. Things like that keep showing up, and sometimes, and this happens throughout the process, people have to cancel on certain events, whether it be the bachelorette or the shower. They have previous plans with another friend who they have one of their events to go to, things like that. And it starts to get a little heartbreaking, because you're did I do enough? Did I really show up enough to keep this connection? It's a great moment to step back and be okay, I really, really love this person. I care about this person. And they might just kind of be living their life and not thinking twice about it. But when you're the person in the seat of reflecting, being no, this person actually means a lot to me. Not being afraid to keep reaching out and keep putting in the effort. I feel when I go back to Florida, let's say, I'm the one who's okay, let's all get together. Let's have a brunch on this day. And just text people, even if I haven't talked to them in 2 years. And people will come, and then some people will not, and it's okay. But it just makes me think this is one of the few opportunities that this is going to happen. And we used to work together every day, see each other every day, and now we have one chance to get together, and we're not going to. And I even had friends who were oh, we live 10 minutes from each other, but I never see her. And it's but if you don't put in that opportunity to make connection, you're not going to. So I don't know, present day, that's what's coming up, and just realizing you want to continue that.
Making it a priority.
Yeah.
I think a lot of, in the defense of anyone who doesn't show up, a lot of life demands more of our attention, and our priorities are sort of skewed by what we're told they should be. Obviously a job has to be a top priority because you need to make a living, and your partner, if you live with your partner, if you have kids, whatever your family unit looks like, the people who live under your roof with you are a priority. You also see them every day, so they're topical, they're top of mind, their schedule, their people, your families, and how you navigate making sure you see them with some regularity. And that's hard to balance all of that. And so then friends specifically, you know, especially in adulthood, and I know we've talked about this before, they sort of take a back seat to all of the other things that demand more of our time and attention. And yeah, I don't think it's juvenile at all to say, like, let's get together, let's do something fun, let's, you know, enjoy each other's company, let's go on a trip. Like, never too old for a girls trip, never too old.
Yeah.
I think that's great. And yeah, I do the same thing when I go back to Orlando, or when I was living there and I would come here. Like, hey, I'm going to be home from this day to this day. You know, I know everyone's busy, but if we can find some time whenever, and, you know, the same people do consistently show up, and that is, you know, not lost on me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of similarly where I was going with my thoughts about, like, present encounter, was being intentional and being the one to instigate. I have people in my life who have, you know, fallen out of friendships, and they're like, oh yeah, I just always felt like I was the one instigating. I always felt like I was the one reaching out to get together, and I felt like they were always the one who was busy, or, you know, we would get together and then we'd be like, okay, let's do this again soon, and then I would have to be the one to reach out again. And there are practical ways around that, like set the time for your next meeting while you're at the current one. Or give a couple of dates as options and say, if these two don't work for you, here's like a tertiary one. Whatever you have to do to make sure that it's a mutual effort. I mean, and sometimes if you really are putting in all the effort and somebody isn't reciprocating, maybe that person just isn't as in this as you are. But sometimes it's just that maybe they have more going on right now. Maybe in this season they're like starting their own business and they're just like knee deep in that. Or maybe they just had a kid and you're, you know, a childless millennial. And that doesn't mean that your life isn't important and you're not busy. But it just means that their focus is somewhere else right now. And I don't know that that always means we should jump to the conclusion that they don't want to be our friend.
And I think it's okay to feel a little bit of like sadness and grief in that space.
Yeah.
And I think I've been noticing that a lot for myself lately, but also knowing like, you know, sometimes the like memories that you made or the season of life that these people were really prominent, sometimes that's going to be like the space that they take up in your life and the connection that you had. But then sometimes there's opportunities to make new memories. Go deep within those present day experiences. And I think that's really where you're going to have a sustainable long-term friendship. Because, you know, often I have friendships that I won't talk to people for many, many months. But then we'll get together, sit there, and really have intentional, present, grounded, rooted conversations. I'm thinking specifically of one of my bridesmaids and high school friends, Alicia. We've been friends since 2007. I don't see her that often.
Right.
A couple times a year. But when I see this specific friend, we set aside a night and we just really are there together. Like,
Yeah.
we're not on our phones. We are, like, talking about everything under the sun. And it's just really, like, a deep-rooted, pure friendship that kind of works with the busyness of life.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with a friendship like that is I don't feel like she's someone I need to, like, go do all these elaborate activities with. It's like we're sitting on the couch and making dinner and playing a board game.
Yep.
She'll ask me questions about, you know, a personal, like a health, like my health journey, and I'll ask her questions about, you know, her like relationship growth, or like she travels often for her work, so things like that. And like, but we get really vulnerable with these things and like tell it like it is. And I think the realness and the rawness of conversations like that are where I find connection and cherish it. And that's, you know, kind of what keeps the slow burn going over time, you know?
Yeah, because you think about that a lot with romantic relationships. Like, oh, we just had our third kid. How do we keep the romance alive? We have to set intentional time to be together, just the two of us, and do things together. You have to do that with friendships too.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means, like you said, like creating an opportunity to spend time together. Let's just make dinner. You have to eat. I gotta eat. Let's eat.
Yeah.
Come over in your comfies and we'll sit on the couch and we'll just have coffee or tea and yap for a while. Do you want to help me? What was the example I used before? Oh,
Stamps.
Do you want to help me stuff envelopes and put stamps on for my wedding invitations? Do you want to help me like DIY this thing? Like
Groceries.
create like a project. Yeah, do something creative together that you need to get done anyway. I mean, did you just move into a new house? Do you need to paint some walls in your house? Have a painting party. Have a couple of friends over and paint a room together. Creating an opportunity doesn't mean you have to do something elaborate. It doesn't mean you have to go out to dinner or take a whole day and go shopping together or whatever. You gotta get groceries. Go get groceries with your friend. We used to do this when we were in college.
Yeah.
We used to just, and even when we were in high school, like we would just drive around. We didn't even go anywhere. We would go to like Walgreens and buy nail polish. And this was like an event. My sister and I were talking about when I first got my driver's license. She's like, we just went to Target.
Yeah.
For no reason. But we spent time together. We would listen to music in the car. We'd sing along. We'd go to Target. And then we would go home.
Yeah.
And those are some of my favorite memories with her because it was this intentional time and these little moments to connect with her that didn't have anything to do with being entertained.
Yeah.
Or like eating an elaborate meal or anything like that. And I think that creating opportunities is something that's coming up for me presently as well, and a way to be present with people. And what better way than a wedding to bring the people together that you are closest with or people that you desire more closeness with? Because if you, like Anthony and I have this beige flag where we'll meet someone or we'll like have a talk with someone and we're like, man, we love that person. Like we should see them more often. Do you want to come to our wedding? And we're like, okay, whoa. Slow down.
We do the same
So then this
thing.
guest list has grown by like 30 people because we just keep inviting people to our wedding. But it's funny because it's just both of us realizing in that moment as we're connecting with this person that we want to be closer to them. And what better opportunity to forge like a stronger bond than to invite them to the most important day of your life.
Looking towards the future, how do we want to continue bringing connection into the future? I think that's a really good question to ask ourselves, especially entering into this stage of adulthood, because a lot of people are getting married now. A lot of people have kids now. A lot of people are starting new career paths and journeys and have a lot of goals and things that they're accomplishing and doing, and life gets really busy. And I think, at least for me, when it comes to connection, whether it be new friends or old, I think the investment that I want to make with people is to really be able to connect with them on like a deeper soul level. And that's where I really want to spend my time investing, having these deep conversations, like getting a little bit more vulnerable with people and like getting into the real stuff, like the real parts of life, and spending time with people who you feel like you can share your whole heart with, I think is really important. And also reflecting on what relationships I do have already. I just had this revelation recently.
Okay.
And Steven actually brought this up because he comes from a smaller family and I have a bigger family. And I noticed that I actually spend a lot of time with family members at gatherings, but then I go do my own thing till the next gathering. So I never actually built a lot of one-on-one relationships with different family members who are in that extended family. And it's actually, there's a beautiful opportunity there that if you have to kind of go out of your way, especially I feel like in my family, everybody's in their own routine and you might have to ask over and over again, but it actually, there's an opportunity to, whether it's a really, really deep connection or even if it's just we're spending more intentional time together connection, like there's a space for that. And it's kind of beautiful that we have the opportunity to pursue it if we choose to. It's like that free will thing. Like you kind of have to just like decide you're going to do it.
In regards to family members, I've noticed that with my brother specifically in this season of life. And it's interesting because we've both lived in Orlando at the same time sometimes. Sometimes one of us has lived there and the other one hasn't. We're currently in a season where he's there and I'm not, but I am there fairly regularly. And I feel like, and I think my sister feels this way too, we're each sort of experiencing him as an adult and forging relationships with him individually. Because with siblings, especially with us, there's 3 of us, like I've always felt like I had a relationship with Sarah specifically, like she and I as sisters But I don't know that since we were little, I had like a specifically individual relationship with my brother. It was sort of like him as part of our family unit. But he and I didn't spend a lot of one-on-one time together as adults. And now we are, and it is really intentional because we aren't living in the same place. So it's like, hey, I'm coming down these dates. When are you free? Let's spend the day. Let's go to dinner. Let's, go to the parks or whatever we're going to do together. And it feels really intentional. I feel like I'm getting to know this person where he's at as he is.
There's something to be said for a little bit of distance sometimes, because then you actually carve out these moments.
Yeah, and I think also, like, as he gets older and grows, like, he's discovering who he is as well, and so we're kind of meeting each other, and I'm like, this is such an interesting person, and, like, there is a lot of it that's like, oh, it's my big brother, and that's great, and a lot of his little, like, personality quirks that he's carried from childhood, but there's a lot that's new, and it's very interesting. And, I mean, he's just a smart, interesting person to talk to, so I'm sort of just enjoying navigating that in the context that we're in now, and still remembering, like, we used to, just, like, play in the backyard together, and all of these memories that I have of us as kids, because we were quite close when we were little. We're very close in age. We, obviously had the divorced parent thing, so he was the only person that was consistent when we were with either parent. But we sort of lost some of that as we got older, and then I moved away, and just life happened. But we're kind of reconnecting now, and that's cool, because I feel like I'm kind of meeting him for the first time in a way, which is really cool.
Beautiful.
And I think as I look to the future, that's something I want to be more intentional about. I'm sort of, overarchingly, like I was saying earlier, I want to be this person who finds ways, even in the busyness of like being an adult and not being in college anymore, to create opportunities to connect with people in my life, whether that be like just come over and sit on my couch with me, go get groceries with me, run this errand with me, whatever it is. Anthony and I always talk about making everyday things into occasions, and you can do that with friends, you can do that with family. And so I'm trying to be more intentional about that overarchingly. And then I'm also trying to pick people in my life specifically that I feel like maybe I've lost a connection with. Maybe I really just like this person, and whenever I talk to them, I'm like, I want to know this person more, listening to that sort of feeling and instigating that where I can. And that has actually meant like extending wedding invitations to people that other people in my life are like, really? That person? I'm like, yeah, I want to be close to this person. I like them a lot. When we talk, I'm like, oh my gosh, we are just so aligned on so many levels. Come to my wedding.
Yeah.
And then we will make this like core memory together, and you will have been at my wedding.
Yeah.
And that feels like a springboard for friendship. So I'm trying to do that. And
also, can I say one thing about the family stuff too?
Yeah.
I think I've always kind of had this knowing of this concept of people getting to the end of their life and looking back and getting like this rush of closeness because like they know like they're about to lose someone, or things are about to change, or they apologize for things that were really hard, or things like that. And I think I always kind of thought like a lot of relationships that I didn't have closeness with, like, oh, well, one day we'll have that connection. And I always have appreciated them, but I didn't realize how much I appreciated them until the end. And I realized I don't want to have to get to that point where I'm losing them to realize how much I appreciate them.
Yes.
Or how grateful I've been for them. Like, I know that now. I know how much I love people now, and wanting to express that and connect with them more in the present moment. It's the micro moments that are actually going to build the connection. It's not like one grand gesture. You don't do something once to build a connection with someone. It's a very, like I said, it's a slow burn over time. Yeah. So that was a really big revelation for me too. So moving forward, future-wise, I think that that's a huge thing to be intentional about as well.
Yeah.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Being verbal about it, and also setting like present action responses in accordance with that too.
Yeah.
You know, just to kind of round that out, I think looking forward, you know, we, as I said before, we all have lives to lead, and we all have people and things that are and should be our first priority and will always be. But that doesn't mean that there isn't space for these relationships and these connections to be created or to grow deeper. And we just have to think outside the box and get a little creative and find those little pockets of time. And they can be little pockets of time. It doesn't have to be a day. It can be an hour. It can be like, maybe you see someone in passing in the grocery store, and instead of being like, oh, hey, how are you? You actually stop them. Maybe you know about something that just happened in their life. Oh, congratulations on blah, blah, blah. This just happened last night at work. I saw someone I haven't seen in a while, and I asked her what was new, and she said, oh, nothing really. And then somebody else who went to talk to her said, oh, she just got a raise at her job. And I was like, and I went over to her and I was like, congratulations on your raise. She's like, oh, thank you. And I was like, hey, remember when I asked you 20 minutes ago what was new and you said nothing? She's like, I know, I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to it. I'm like, this is awesome. So we got like a little moment to celebrate that, and she kind of like lit up a bit, and she was more excited to talk when she realized she did have some news to share.
Moving forward, to round out these episodes as well, we also want to give you guys a journal prompt. If this is something you resonate with, I know that we're both big journalers. We love to reflect on things. And I think for connection, the journal prompt that we would love to share, I think it's a 2-parter.
I'm going to write it down because I don't even know what you picked yet.
Okay. Well, I think it's important to clarify what the concept is. So the first part is going to be, number 1, what does connection mean to you? And then for the next portion, Kristen's writing. I don't know if I should keep going.
Oh no, you can go ahead. I'm a good note taker.
For the next portion, I think taking a moment to reflect and cultivate some micro moments that you've experienced. Where have you felt connection in your life? Like, really thinking about that. Like, was it a specific person? Was it the way they talked to you? Was it the way they sat with you and listened to you? Think about that and just kind of make a bullet list of micro moments where you have felt connection. And then bonus, if you want to take this into action, the third portion of this could be, how could I provide connection for someone today? And they could be really, really small. I was even thinking of one. I decided I want to be the type of person who sends birthday cards on people's birthdays.
Oh, I love that.
I don't do that.
That feels very you.
Yeah, I don't do that for like everybody. I do it for like specific people, but I feel like that, I keep saying when we get married, but realistically, I think that'll be a when we get married thing. But I want to be someone who really reaches out and does that. Even if it's kind of more estranged friends, you know? Like, just for them to know, like, they're being thought of. I think that's really cool. So something really small like that. That might be, like, too overambitious for some. That's fine. It resonates with me. But, like, what's your version of that?
I think that makes so much sense for you because, A, you're the birthday queen.
Thank you.
And B, you are really intentional. I think you're not giving yourself enough credit about sending, like, cards and letters. I have so many Christmas cards, letters, postcards. I love them though. I truly treasure them for so many reasons. One, I love seeing, this is a me thing, I love seeing something written in someone's handwriting because someone's handwriting is just so unique to them. It's not something you can fake. Yeah. You can try to write like somebody else. You can't. Like, it's just, I see something you've written and it's you, and I hear you in it, and it's not a text that's the same font for everybody, but it's like your words written on a page from a moment in time, or to mark an occasion like Merry Christmas, or, you know, here we are in Norway and I thought of you because school bread, and that is just, I keep every single card and letter anyone ever writes me. Yeah, because I want their handwriting. It's just like a piece of their spirit that I think is so special. I think that makes so much sense for you, and I think in the year of planning your wedding, that might be a little ambitious, but I think that's a great thing to settle into, a great project. Yeah, I mean, a little routine. I don't know. We spend so much time in these weddings. We're like, what are we gonna do when we don't have a wedding to plan? Right? So that's a great thing to like have on your little project radar. Yeah, I love that.
So, I don't know. I think that's a great way to just branch out and
Yeah.
offer more connection. Yeah, because it's all great in theory, but it really is about like the actions we take.
Right.
And, even if they're very, very small, they compound into something bigger and deeper and meaningful.
I agree with that. Yeah, we should like update
Yeah.
in subsequent episodes.
I like that.
Like, what did you do last month to...
Yeah, even just one example of like where did you experience connection in the past month, and then we can transition into the next rediscovery. So that's cool.
That's
I love
an idea.
that.
I'm gonna jot that down
I can put it on
so
the
we
list.
don't forget it.
Well, to round out the episode, we have our new.
Rediscover Roundup.
Woohoo!
Yeehaw!
So we're just gonna kind of do some life updates at the end of Rediscover. I know that we've been updating you guys pretty consistently for, my gosh, it's been like 1.5 or 2 years of our old structure.
We're having some long engagements over here.
Yeah, so
Highly recommend.
yeah, love it. So we'll just kind of do a quick little wrap up before we say goodbye for the day.
I think my pen is like dying. Do you have a favorite pen, Jess?
Yeah, I think it's these ones.
The
Is it
Pilot G2?
Yeah,
Of course.
that's my favorite pen in the whole world.
Of course we have the same favorite pen. Honestly, this one's kind of like, it's getting low on ink. It's dying
It's
a little.
the best pen.
It's the best.
Well,
How many millimeters?
I have it.
Do we
right
have
here.
the exact...
Yeah, it's the best pen in the whole world.
It really is. This surprises me 0% that we have the same favorite pen and that we are both equally passionate about it. I buy these in bulk
Yeah.
on Amazon.
Oh, you know what? I should do that because I
Yeah.
overpay for them.
Oh
Probably,
yeah, no, you should
when
get
I go to
like
Target.
a big pack on Amazon. Yeah.
I'm gonna do that because I actually was running out. So
Yep, they're the best.
got it. Anyway,
Wow. Sorry, I just thought of that and I thought I bet Jess has a favorite pen. And you know what? This is the intimacy and connection we're talking about. Knowing that about your friend.
Yeah.
Knowing their favorite pen. Knowing their favorite brand of hot sauce. Like
Yeah.
those little tiny quirks make me feel so connected to my friends and I love that I know those things about them.
yeah, because not everybody's gonna know these things about you. Like they're very like intimate details, and yes,
Yeah.
like your partner's gonna know these things, right? But like your friends who know these things are
Yeah.
really like that's special.
I guess we did have something more to say.
I guess so. Anyways,
On that
you,
note,
thank you to
Pilot G2
Pilot G2 Pens
for
for
sponsoring this episode.
for the beautiful example of
That would
connection.
be great. A pen sponsorship.
God.
So niche. So niche.
For our Rediscover Roundup, we're just going to talk about where we're at in our wedding planning process right now. Really just kind of to keep you guys in the loop and to just go over it. But I think big things that are going on for us right now. We found the groomsmen suits, which was a 4-month process. I didn't realize that was going to be the hardest part of the wedding planning process thus far, but we were looking for a specific color. It actually was kind of a synchronistic experience to find it because Steven got called up to be a groomsman at the last minute when we were going to a wedding in Clearwater, and we had to go to Men's Warehouse unexpectedly, and we found the suit that we ended up choosing in the Clearwater Men's Warehouse. And
This
we
is wild.
I know. And then we came back here to Buffalo. We took a picture of the tag and everything. They don't have that suit anywhere. Like even
Classic.
in like the town or the city over. That's like 3 hours away. Nothing. But we were able to order it online, see it in person, ended up going with it. But it's funny how life leads you to these things. Like if he wouldn't have been called up at the last minute to be a groomsman, we would have never gone into Men's Warehouse and found it. So thank you to the synchronicities of Men's Warehouse for guiding us.
I don't know that anyone has ever thanked Men's Warehouse outside of a sponsorship. Again, not sponsored. We are actually using, and this is going to sound like a sponsorship because I know they like do this with some people. So just to clarify, it's not. We're not that cool. It's not that deep. Well, Jess is a sponsored girly sometimes.
We can be that cool.
She is. I am not. I am not sponsored. I post on Instagram once every 3 months these days. That would be a terrible decision on any company's part. Anyway, we used Generation Tux, which I heard really good things about, and Anthony actually facilitated most of it. And I was like,
That's great.
He got some swatches in. We looked at everything. We like compared all the color swatches for the bridesmaid dresses. We were like, okay, I think this is what we're going for. And he was like, okay, cool. Took care of it, and that was that. That was actually like one of the earlier on things that we did. But now we are
Your color was a little bit easier to find
Yes.
than ours.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I love the colors you're going with. Actually,
Thank you.
I
If I accidentally said them, edit them out. But I don't think
the colors?
I don't think I said what I'm doing, but in case I did.
Oh, is this a secret?
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Okay, she's being sneaky. She's
Well,
being
there's
secretive.
some things that I just want to like,
She's
you know.
gatekeeping.
Gatekeep.
Okay, gatekeeping. We're gatekeeping some stuff. Well, today in the mail, I got my bridal shower invitations finally from
Hooray.
Minted. Also not sponsored, but I guess good to like share where we're finding things. So far, I have used Minted for our bridal shower invitations, which I really need to get sent out here tomorrow. Yesterday, honestly. And I also used Minted for our rehearsal dinner invites and also for our menus, which I just got, and I'll show you
Cute.
after this.
I want to see.
So we are doing a family style dinner, and we kind of created our own menu. Obviously, Anthony was just like, what do we want to do? What are the feels? And he came up with something, and I was like, this all sounds fantastic. So we went with it. So I designed some menus, and I really like them. I got to like pick Pantone like hex codes and everything for the colors to like get them exactly what I wanted, which was a fun little project, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. Also, I just got my try-on dresses for Jess's wedding delivered today.
Can't wait to
so I
see
could
them.
try those on for the bride.
Oh my
no
God.
pressure. I also think that 2 of them aren't my size because I was like not waiting for my size to come back in. I don't actually know what my size is. I have no concept. So we'll see.
It's okay.
But yeah, just all of the wedding adjacent events I'm kind of in right now.
That's what this season feels like,
Yeah.
because I've been like bachelorette, bridal shower. Yeah, it's weird. It's funny because you're like, oh, I'm planning my wedding, but it's like, no, I'm planning like several events all at once.
And it's honestly something I don't think is talked about a lot because you sort of pick your vendors for your wedding and they're kind of taking care of a lot. Even if you don't have a wedding planner, which I do not. I have a day of coordinator, not a wedding planner. Very different. She has been very involved in the process because she is a dear friend, but it's different because I am kind of in charge of coordinating everything in the planning sector. So once you get all your vendors though, they kind of they're pros in their game, so they're taking care of everything once you tell them the vision you want them to execute. But then the other events related to the wedding are much more hands-off, and you might have some vendors involved, but not as many as the wedding, not as like in it as the wedding, if that makes sense. So I feel like a lot more detail and nitty-gritty has come onto my plate for those events. So I feel like, yeah, shower, bachelorette, rehearsal dinner, all of those things are what I'm really in right now. And we're going to nail down our timeline this week. We're going to meet with our officiant, got ordained for us. And he texted me yesterday and said, by the way, I got ordained. And I was so excited. So we're going to meet with him and sort of map out how the ceremony is going to go. And that's really
so
special
exciting.
and fun. So yeah, we're definitely checking some things off the list. And it has been very satisfying.
Yeah, we love that. I think we're both in a good space. So we'll keep you in the loop. Things that are coming up, brainstorming, fun things like that. So wedding season is in full swing. We've got
Oh my gosh.
less than 6 months to go.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't. You guys just asked me to be her maid of honor. I'm so excited.
Yes.
We didn't
oh my
tell
gosh,
you
did
that.
we not tell
We didn't
you?
tell you.
So a big thing that happened is that Kristen is going to be my maid of honor.
And
I'm
I cried.
So excited.
I'm so excited. I had such a banner weekend that weekend because Jess came over and asked me to be her maid of honor. And then the next day, one of my other close friends asked me to be the godmother to her child. And I was like, I feel so loved this weekend. It was beautiful.
And that's a perfect example of having deep connections with people in your life.
I'm so excited. It's going to be beautiful. She's a planning queen, so I feel like she's not until like the week of the wedding are you really going to need
I know. I was like, because you think about it, you're like, oh, my best friend is literally getting married, like, within months of me.
Yeah.
Weeks, really.
6
and it's
weeks
like,
apart.
do I put that on her? But I'm like, well, I'm kind of a self-sufficient bride. I just really need a on-site girly,
Yeah.
and that is what
And,
you
like,
thrive at.
So without revealing anything, I'm getting married first, and then Jess's wedding is 6-ish weeks after mine. So it's perfect because that last, like, home stretch to your wedding, I will be like, I'm just an old married lady now. I have all the time in the world, and I need a project because I will be coming off of this season of planning heavily, and I will still be in go mode, and it'll be perfect. So I'm very much looking forward to having something to jump into afterwards. So
I'm really
it'll be
excited
great.
and thankful.
I'm excited.
It's going to be
So
a blast.
It's going to
Wow.
be beautiful. I'm going to cry everywhere.
Oh my God, same. Well, I think that's all we have for today. I'm so thankful to be back and for our new rediscover, revamp, and I'm really looking forward to this whole new structure of rediscover and being able to really dive into these topics. I love having heart-to-hearts with Kristen, and I love having heart-to-hearts on rediscover, and I think that there's such an opportunity for us to share these parts of life that really are the fuel that keep us going and build out these life experiences and can make life feel a little bit brighter, a little bit lighter, and like deepen our experience in what we're going through. So I hope you enjoy them as much as we do.
Yeah, and this platform specifically, doing Rediscover together, has 100% brought us closer together, especially in a season of life when we were like coming back together. This has been like deep connective tissue for us to grow in closeness and deepen our connection. So it's very cool that we have a place to do this. It's very cool that people are enjoying doing this journey with us. So thank you for giving us an opportunity to grow closer together through Rediscover
And rebuild.
and readjust. We love a prefix,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
Anyways, all right. Well, we will talk to you guys next time. We're so excited to dive into our next topic for next month. And until then, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets, with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.